So this from another one of my favorite X accounts, Bravos Research. The U.S. government has been hiring an average of 50,000 workers per month for the past 2 years. 50,000 workers per month for 2 years straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
That's a lot.
Which is one of the highest rates in 30 years. This hiring spree has strengthened the labor market, likely delaying a recession. I hope what I'm trying to say now is coming into focus a little bit. But high levels of government job creation have rarely prevented recessions. So if you're in office and you're in a very stigmatized, polarizing political climate, and you know 2 years ago in 2022 that a recession was likely, you get together with your team, your cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
and you brainstorm ideas. And some guy in the back gets called on. And that guy in the back,
Got crayons?
he got crayons. He's smart,
Yeah.
but he's like, I know what to do. And everyone's like waited on bated breath for this guy to say what he knows to do. And he goes, let's just hire everybody.
Well, what is that going to do for them?
You see, unemployment,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
is one of the two, I don't know, responsibilities, the mandates of the Fed, which we can't control.
Right.
But if we can control the numbers they look at to see if they're in a recession or not,
Mm-hmm.
then we can control the perception of a recession.
Right, because if the numbers for employment were to actually come down, then the Fed would have had to cut their rates a lot sooner than they did.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
In response
easing
to,
it would have eased the tension and the pain that all of us have been feeling and dealing with, because it's one of their dual mandates, like you said.
Yep.
They have to care about employment.
So you control employment so that they don't focus on it,
Mm-hmm.
which is why over the course of the last 2 years, we saw all these big companies laying people off at a cadence that was very visible.
Every episode we were saying this team laid off 10%, this team laid off 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was happening left and right. And we're like, how the hell are the job numbers not moving? Well, now you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was being manipulated
Mm-hmm.
politically.
Yeah, it could happen for a number of. It could also happen for multiple reasons, right? It could be to make sure that the Fed continues their course and keep rates where they were. It could also be because the administration at that time wanted to produce positive numbers.
But the key thing to take home from that sentiment was the last sentence. These efforts by the government job creation, right, rarely have prevented recessions. So in reality, it almost always certainly leads to a recession. It just takes a little longer to get there, which is part of the reason why we've been talking about recession. And for the guy with my DMs who's like, Chris, you're Peter Schiff. You keep calling for recession. Sooner or later, that broken clock is right. And it's like, okay, yeah. Except now you know why we've been calling for it and you haven't been seeing it. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not that hard. Moving on from another one of my favorite X accounts to look at, from Darth Powell.
Love that.
Yeah. Half the fucking jobs were just Biden trying to hide a market collapse with debt. And in post-production, we're going to come up in here and we're going to drop this chart for you, which is going to show you a pretty significant chart in my mind, which looks at the Fed data, the Federal Reserve Bank's data. It looks at employment, and it looks at all employment government, and it compares the two. And it shows you very clearly how the administration went on a hiring spree. And in doing so, they added a ton of government jobs over the course of 4.5 years. So much of those jobs were used to prop up those numbers and hide the real issue from the Federal Reserve.
So if you can follow that logically, right? You can also see a world where this isn't just being done with the job numbers.
Not at all.
This is also happening with the inflation numbers.
Yeah.
They're underreporting inflation.
Where you can.
Right? And they have, I can't even begin to tell. I think it's they've changed the way they've calculated inflation 30 times. Okay? They no longer compare things like if, let's just say, smartphones now compared to smartphones in the future. They don't do that. They like products because they want to measure behavior. They understand consumer behavior. If something costs more, they'll adopt something cheaper. right?
Well, even better example is do you not remember when the Biden administration literally came out and changed the definition of recessionary economy?
Oh yeah,
Used to be 2 successive quarters of negative GDP growth.
right.
And they're like, oh no, wait, it's also got to have negative GDI growth too.
Mm-hmm.
Never in the course of history has anybody ever spoken about GDI in the context of recessionary economy. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's this asterisk.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Where was
the
that?
last 50 years?
So if they underreport in the inflation numbers, right? Guess what? Guess what? They don't have to adjust as much. The cost of living that they have to pay out for Social Security.
And let's not forget
For everything that they have to pay for that adjusts for cost of living, all the federal workers, all of it. They don't have to adjust the wages for any of them.
And let's not forget the recession definition. If we go with GDI, that convenient number, that convenient extra focal point they put in.
Yeah.
We just came out of 2 years of artificial stimulus that we provided everybody else, where we knew it was public knowledge. People were generally making more money on unemployment and getting the stimulus check, the stimmies, than they were when they were otherwise working.
Yeah.
So GDI, your gross domestic income, was of course manipulated.
Oh yeah, 100%. And if you think we're BSing about any of this, here's a little fun fact.
Do we actually abbreviate bullshitting now?
Yeah,
Is that what we do on the show?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I thought I was in the office for a second. If you think we're bullshitting, if you think we're bullshitting about any of this, okay, do us a favor, right? Why don't you go and look up the raw data that they use to calculate these figures, and you'll be impressed. You won't be able to find it. They don't provide the raw data that they use.
No, why would you do that? That'd be honest and transparent.
Yeah.
What? Why would I do that?
The raw data that they use to calculate inflation, they don't provide it to you.
Saied, you don't go to magicians' magic shows and see how the tricks work, okay?
Yeah.
You're in awe of the results,
yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
What are you doing?
Remember those shows back in the day where there was like this magician who had like a mask on and
he'd reveal the tricks?
He'd reveal all the tricks.
They do that on social media now, but they do it like in a comedic format.
Oh, they do?
Where one guy
I remember loving those episodes. I'm like, oh, I need more. I want more of this.
Yeah, but it really stole something away from it. You know? Like,
really?
Yeah, the magic's completely lost on me now. Now I'm like, you're just a creative person. You're not a magician.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, how do they get, sometimes they're so creative sometimes. David Blaine is crazy.
David Blaine's crazy, but I also think like he takes the illusionist act too far.
Yeah, it worries me. I don't want my son ever watching that. I'm like, you don't need to
Yeah,
watch
like
this.
he's a sociopath. Just ignore him, son. You know what I mean? Like he's not normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going hard at trying to get girls, and this is what happens. You know?
He didn't know how to talk. I'd rather just teach you how to talk to girls.
Yeah, just focus on being a good person. You don't need to be this guy.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's go on to the Kabisi letter. I think this is also indicative. This moving to the treasuries now. The 30-year Treasury yield has surpassed the Fed funds rate for the first time since Q4 of 2022. This comes as the 30-year Treasury yield has risen approximately 60 basis points, or 0.60%, over the last 2 months, which is a massive move for those of you who are uninitiated. At the same time, the Fed has cut rates 2 times, from 5.5% down to 4.75%. In previous economic cycles, whenever the yield curve has turned positive, a recession in the U.S. occurred within months. And this is why we spent so much time over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years, talking about getting out of the yield curve inversion, because we knew that was almost always a recessionary precursor.
Oh, yeah.
But yet, of course, we're negative. We're Peter Schiff.
Just calling it how it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying what it is. However, this indicator can be proven wrong for the first time in history if a soft landing is achieved. Let me explain that to you, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The indicator that we have pointed to, that we said that we expressed concern on this show for the better course of 2 years.
Right.
That we finally got out of, which typically precedes recessionary economies. If we were to hit this magical soft landing that the Fed and the government and everybody is hoping for, okay, you would be doing something that has never been done.
Oh, yeah, really? Exactly.
We are all hoping for this soft landing rhetoric has been everywhere.
Oh, yeah, it always starts off that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally like a Goldilocks scenario, right? But everyone or any Fed president that has ever successfully achieved what they call a soft landing has also admitted to being extremely lucky that it panned out.
Okay. And I think it's a different thing. I think here's what I look at it as. Okay. We all know what a unicorn looks like, right?
Yeah.
We've all read stories about unicorns, right?
Right.
You ever fucking seen one?
Haven't seen it.
No. You might have seen a horse with a horn on its forehead.
Yeah.
You might have seen a beautifully crafted television show with a unicorn on it. We know it's not a real unicorn.
Right. Yeah.
Because we know those fucking things don't actually exist.
Right.
You ever see like a child story where the unicorn has wings and shit and it's flying over? Like, and you're like, oh my God, the unicorn flies. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But you know you're not going to go outside and see a fucking unicorn flying over your house.
Right. At least you would hope so.
So you're not going to see a soft landing, okay?
Yeah. Probably not gonna
That
see
little
it.
fucker that's got wings and flying over your house, that little soft landing unicorn, that thing doesn't exist in real life.
Right. And I don't care what you present me, what data points you present me. I know what I'm feeling. I know what the listeners of this show have been feeling because they've been talking to us for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
I know we've been in a recession, right? I don't care. I don't need to see the data points to prove
Yeah,
it.
National Bureau of Labor Statistics. Don't worry, we got you. We're in a recession, America.
Yeah. I know y'all been quiet over there. We got it from here. Thanks.
Yeah. I know somebody in the office somewhere over there is going like, fuck, why will the government just shut the fuck up so we can do our job?
There's one guy over there just writing up the report on how we've been in a recession. He's hyper focused on every last word. We got it for you. We've been in a recession. It's done.
Yeah. GDI what?
How am I gonna flip this?
You know what soft landing is tantamount to in celebrity gossip speak?
What is it?
When people say, Saied, we're not getting divorced. We're having a conscious uncoupling.
Okay. We made it real about this.
Yeah. We're having a conscious uncoupling. We're separating.
Yeah, we're separating. Yeah.
And you're like, what? No, you're divorced.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that.
No.
That's harsh. We would never do that.
Right.
We're just separating consciously and with intention.
Yeah.
That's a divorce, dude. No, it's not. It's different.
This is that red table talk.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah. I just want to see Will and Jada actually get into a real fight. I stopped loving you 25 years ago.
Yeah, I never did love you. I love Tupac.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're getting the full story on Tupac. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of audition casting tapes that say otherwise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are hard to stomach. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this the same person?
I have a theory that during the autopsy of Tupac Shakur, that when the mortician comes in and they start cleaning you up and everything else, and they've done the autopsy and all that stuff, and they come in and they try to prep you for the funeral.
Well, yeah, what you about to say? Yeah.
I think they were cleaning his body up and making sure there was no blood anywhere, and the T on Thug Life came off.
I just peeled off.
It's like, Hug Life?
Hug life.
What?
Hug life.